All right, if y'all just bear with me for one more second, just getting everything situated. All right, we are going to go ahead and get started. Just have a couple of quick announcements before we do. First of all, we have a waiting room for the Zoom, and so if any of your friends or anybody y'all see enters the waiting room and they need to be let in and I haven't seen it, if you can type it in the chat, I will try to keep an eye on that. And then the only other thing I was going to say is if you could just keep your cameras off and try to keep your microphones muted unless you're speaking on the floor. That way the live stream works like it should. All right, are there any questions before we get started? And then just to clarify, during debate, as opposed to raising your placard, you will type debate in the chat. And then same thing for questioning, you'll type the word question in the chat. But yeah, I think that covers everything. And then for voting, you'll be allowed to either vote by unmuting yourself or you can type aye or no in the chat. All right, any questions before we get started? All right. I now call to order the January 25th meeting of the Associated Student Body Senate at 7:05 p.m. We will now have a moment of silence given by Senator Monroe.
Before we continue, I would like to dedicate our usual moment of silence to Paul Rogers, who tragically passed this morning. Paul, who served as housing director and chef for my fraternity, was much more than just that. He was a friend to all that he met and an integral part of our family. He has changed the lives of so many, and we'll never forget his company and friendship. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Senator Monroe. We will now have the Pledge of Allegiance given by Senator Jones Burdick. Oop, I think you're muted, Anastasia.
Excuse me, everyone. Sorry about that. Zoom, getting back to this kind of normal has been challenging. So excuse me, and if you all will join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which we stand, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, Senator Jones Burdick. I'm sure I will be accidentally muted at some point tonight, so no worries about that. The clerk will now call roll.
Hey y'all, I'm just gonna call the people that I don't have on the roll. Howell, Hughes, Roebuck,
I'm here.
and Smith. Okay.
You said Hughes?
Yes.
I'm here.
Perfect. Thank you. So Roebuck and Smith, if you're in here, please type your name in the chat.
All right. Thank you very much, Secretary Hayward. We will now move into a period of reports. If you have nothing to report, please say no reports. The Committee on Rules. I don't think we can hear you, Lila, or I can't hear you. Perfect. Okay, we have your report in the chat. All right. Thank you, Senator Osman. The Committee on Governmental Operations.
The Committee on Governmental Operations is bringing forth for consideration Senate Bill 22-1, Senate Bill 22-2, Senate Bill 22-3, Senate Bill 22-4, and Senate Bill 22-5. We are also working with the Judicial Department on some stuff right now, and as well as some members of the President's Cabinet. And that should be some legislation that's coming forth next week.
Thank you, Senator Ryan. The Committee on Inclusion and Cross-Cultural Engagement.
Hi, you all. In terms of legislation for this week, there are no reports, but be on the lookout for something next formal Senate, hopefully.
All right. Thank you, Senator Jones-Burdick. The Committee on Athletics.
Hey everyone. So I know we've gotten a lot of complaints on baseball tickets costing $5. I am currently trying to work with Mr. Paris Buchanan on resolving that issue for this upcoming season. That's all I have.
Thank you very much, Senator Dedman. I know we're looking forward to your help with that. The Committee on Student Life.
Legislation-wise this week, no reports, but we are continuing to work with Chick-fil-A in order to get the grilled chicken sandwich and breakfast back. And then we have a couple of more things that you'll be seeing in future Senate meetings.
Thank you very much, Senator Kelly. The Committee on Infrastructure.
Legislation-wise, nothing to report. However, there were a lot of quality of life improvements that were made throughout the campus. So Senator Cooper and my committee met with facilities management, got some much needed one-way signs put on by the road that goes in front of Rebel Market. The crosswalk in front of the Union, it now has the little divot to make it ADA accessible. And then also, I know something that some people have noticed on the sidewalk, like between Fraternity Row and the quad, there's a huge divot that people tripped on all the time. That's been repaired. So just kind of some nice quality of life things that got done over the break, which is really nice.
Thank you very much for that, Senator Amlong. That's much appreciated. The Committee on Academics.
No reports.
Thank you, Senator Neighbors. And the Committee on External Affairs.
Legislation-wise, nothing. Keep telling people about the transportation hub. That's in the implementation. We're working out the kinks with that. And we're going to be having a farmer's market on February 17th. So keep eyes open. And once we get the graphics for that, share that. But besides that, nothing else.
Thank you very much, Senator Mattson. We will now hear a report from Legislation Monitors Rhodes and Miller on the routing of past legislation.
Good evening, guys. All legislation from fall 2021 semester has been fully signed. All bills have been incorporated into the newest version of the ASB Code and Constitution, which is available on the website. Big shout out to the DOJ for updating that. Legislation for tonight's formal Senate was emailed to the legislative branch and exec on January 21st. The 19th edition of the senatorial comment premiered on January 24th. This volume was the second year in review edition, reflecting on the legislative branch in 2021. 5 bills were approved with unanimous consent to come to the floor tonight by the Rules Committee. They are Senate Bills 22-1, 22-2, 22-3, 22-4, and 22-5. All legislation numbering has started over for the new 2022 year, so please keep that in mind as you send legislation our way. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The senatorial comment looked great as always, and we're happy to have you back in Oxford, Amy, so thank you all very much. We will now hear a report from Executive Liaison Hall on behalf of ASB President Atkins.
Hi, good evening, Senators. I'm so excited to have everyone here back on campus for another semester. You only have 3 months of your term left, and we just want to encourage you to take advantage of all the time that you have. That starts tonight. The legislation coming to the floor will have a huge impact on which students are able to participate in elections and pursue campus leadership. You are all elected to make decisions by your constituents, and you have to consider the circumstances of the average student when listening to these rules. This is not about shutting down campaigns or being sorry for intruding in students' lives. We aren't. This is about encouraging even more students to get involved in campaigns by removing barriers to access. Campaigns are fun if you're wrapped up in the inner workings of them, But the everyday student at the university dreads campaign season, how it happens now. Being yelled at, chased down to take a sticker from someone who doesn't even bother to learn your name is not an enjoyable experience. It is difficult to form any real, genuine connections with constituents during campaigning because of how distant students feel with these theatrics. These changes will help us boost voter turnout by making campaign season something students want to be part of rather than avoid. Moreover, these changes make campaigning more feasible and affordable for students. Time, resource, and space constraints cause students to self-select out of elections every year because they do not have the family, financial, or organizational structure to support them. Disabled students have a hard time carrying out the physical labor of our current campaigns require. I implore you to consider these students when you are debating and voting tonight. We are called to serve selflessly and to represent justly the student body and our mission. And choosing to allow inequity and numerous barriers to prevent students from participating in an election for an organization that is supposed to serve them is a betrayal to the documents that govern us. That's all we have to say, but thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Liaison Hall. I appreciate that. We will now hear a report from Campus Liaison Newsom on constituency engagement opportunities and student opinions submitted to the Senate.
Hey, basically there was an exponential increase in the amount and length of student opinion forms submitted tonight. So we felt it would be more efficient and respectful of your time to release a Google document exclusively to senators for you guys to have the opinions available to read yourselves. But I will let you know there were 27 in all, 4 about legislation on the floor tonight, and 22 submitted about the baseball tickets. They were exponentially long in length, and I know to be respectful of your time, this was the best option for you to be able to read and really dissect what was said. And that is all.
Thank you very much, Liaison Newsom. And she has been working hard to try to get that document prepared as fast as she can. So she will try to get that out to y'all ASAP. We will now move into a period of nominations. First, we will hear a nomination for the Department of Justice. It is as follows: Abby Robeson for Deputy Attorney General of Elections. Will the nominee for the DOJ please turn on your camera? Perfect. All right. Attorney General Dragna has been, excuse me, has been approved to speak on your behalf. Attorney General, you have 5 minutes.
Thank you. Hi, Senate. I'm really excited tonight to be nominating Abby Robeson to fill the vacancy in my department for Deputy Attorney General of Elections. My previous Deputy Attorney General for Elections took an internship in DC this semester, and so unfortunately she did have to leave us, but I was excited to be able to appoint Abby to this position in her place. Abby has been an absolutely stellar member of the Elections Review Board, always going above and beyond to help certify petitions, to attend every hearing and participate to the fullest extent. And so when it came time to pick someone to fill the vacancy, I went immediately to Abby. We've already been in conversations about spring elections and how to make those as engaging and as informative as possible for the student body. We've already been working on planning the executive candidate debate for the campaigns that will happen in March. And so she's been able to hit the ground running. I have full faith and confidence that she will do this job to the best of her ability. So I strongly urge you all to confirm her tonight. Thanks.
All right, thank you very much. Is there any senator wishing to question the nominee? If so, please type question in the chat. All right, if there are no objections, we will suspend the rules and begin debate. And if you'll please enter the breakout room, Attorney General Dragna and Abby. It should be opening here in 1 second. Senator Ryan, you object to moving into a period of debate? Okay, Clark, how should we go about this? Revert back to a period of questioning?
Is she already in the room?
No, they've not left yet.
I think we give some leeway with the Zoom situation. We can have another question.
All right, Senator Ryan, you've been recognized.
Hi, does the patron yield to a possible series of questions?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So I just wanted to ask what you're most excited for when if you were confirmed into this role?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I am super excited, looking forward to these spring elections for a couple of different reasons. Grace and I, as well as A.B. Shaffield, who is the Deputy General or Attorney General of Management under Grace, have already been in discussions about kind of the debate, the setup, and the format for that. And we're definitely super excited to see that continue and kind of the processes to be in place this year. I'm also, with some of the new changes that could be implemented into elections, I'm definitely super excited for the potential there. And I think overall, I think spring elections this year are going to look really special and really be able to include a lot of the students, which is our goal in ASB. And so I think that'll be super cool for sure.
Yeah, thank you so much. I yield the remainder of my time.
Thank you, Senator Ryan. Is there anyone else wishing to question the nominee? Okay, if there are no objections, we will now we will suspend the rules and begin debate. All right, so you should receive, and then candidates for the open seat, you might also receive an invite to a breakout room, but you do not need to join it at this time. This will just be for our nominee and our Attorney General. All right, they're in the breakout room. Is there anyone wishing to debate on this nominee? If so, please type debate in the chat. All right. If there are no objections, we will suspend the rules and vote on their appointment, and also vote by acclamation. All right. If all of those in favor will please type aye in the chat. Oh. Okay, and any opposed, please type no. All right, by unanimous vote, the nominee is confirmed to her position. So I will now have them rejoin the main Zoom. All right, congratulations, Abby. You have been approved with unanimous consent. So if you will please turn on your camera and mic and raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the Associated Student Body,
the Constitution of the Associated Student Body,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of Deputy Attorney General of Elections
the duties of Deputy Attorney General of Elections
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations, Deputy Attorney General. All right. We will now hear nominations for the 2 open Senate seats. These candidates have completed the necessary petitions and have been certified by Attorney General Dragna. They are as follows: Seth Cook, Zachary Newsom, Jen Purcell, Caroline Villamoret, and Hannah Watts. These candidates will now enter the breakout room, aside from Seth Cook, that should be opening right now. All right, perfect. And Seth, you can turn on your camera and mic, and your 1 minute will start whenever you are ready to go.
Hey everybody, my name is Seth Cook and I'm a freshman biology major from Jackson, Mississippi. I've been looking for a way to get more involved and give back on campus. And when I saw this open seat, I decided to jump at the opportunity. Even though I don't have any experience with Senate, I feel that might be a good thing because I can bring fresh ideas to the floor, and I also hope to encourage my freshman peers to be more involved with ASB. Through programs like First Year Experience, I got to experience that last semester. I think that there's a lack of transparency between ASB and the student body, and I would like to help fix that so everyone knows what hard work is put in by the ASB, and so that other students feel comfortable sharing their opinions. I thought the safe ride system that was just set up in the square was a really cool idea. And once I found out the Senate had something to do with it, I knew that I had to be a part of this organization because it truly looks out for the best interests of each and every student. So thank you for considering me for this open seat. And a little bit more about me. All my siblings went to Ole Miss. My dad did as well. So been an Ole Miss fan all my life.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Seth. And now you should be able to join the breakout room. Do you see an invite for that?
I do not. I don't see an invite for it.
Let me try that one more time.
There it is. Okay. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. All right, Jenna, if you'll now have Zachary Newsom rejoin the main Zoom. And Zach, is he back in here? Let's see. Oh, there we go. Appreciate y'all bearing with us here. Okay. Zachary, you have a minute and it'll start whenever you begin.
Ready. I can start.
Yep, you're good to go.
Okay. My name is Zachary Newsom. I'm a junior criminal justice major here at the University of Mississippi. In my previous past experience, I have been president and chief of staff in my community college. I just been trying to find more ways to get involved here at the University of Mississippi. And I think that being an ASB will be a great experience to help out with creating more legislative for everyone.
All right, thank you very much, Zach. And I should be able to invite you to the breakout room. Give me 1 second. Okay, you can go ahead and join that breakout room. And Jenna, if you'll have Jen Purcell join us now. All right, Jen, you have 1 minute and your time will start whenever you begin.
All right. Can everyone hear me? Okay, cool. So I am Jen. I am from Fort Atkinson, Wisconsin, and I'm actually a graduate student here at University of Mississippi. But I really want to focus on advocating for all students, maybe not just grad students, because I know there's a graduate student council as well. So a little bit about me is I was actually student body president during my undergraduate career. I served on the chancellor/president's cabinet, served on multiple committees, including Title IX appeals committee, vice chancellor search and screen committee. I was able to advocate for capital improvements on a state level. And I was actually appointed by the governor to serve. It's like the Wisconsin version of IHL, kind of. So that was really cool. And then I've also worked with students with disabilities and, so many things. Okay, and then on campus, I work in the violence prevention office and in student housing, and I really want to advocate for students, and this is a great way to meet people and do that as well.
Thank you very much, Jen. I appreciate that. And if you will, rejoin the breakout room. And Jenna, if you'll have Caroline join us. All right, if you'll give me 1 second, Caroline, we're getting Jen back into the breakout room. All good, Jen. I'm about to invite you back into the breakout room. Give me 1 second. All right, Caroline, and you're good to go. Your minute will start whenever you begin.
Hello, my name is Caroline Vilmoret. I am a sophomore majoring in public policy leadership. If elected as an ASB senator, I plan to propose legislation to beautify and update the on-campus apartments, such as the Northgate Apartments and Campus Walk. This is important for two main reasons. Firstly, on-campus housing encourages new or returning students to get to know their peers and stay connected to create an engaging campus. I found this my freshman year when I lived in Pittman Hall, as many of you did today. I was able to build a community and become involved on campus quite easily. This much needed update would provide incentive for returning students to live on campus past their freshman year. Secondly, the updates would reduce commuter traffic, parking limitations. Since more students would live on campus instead of commuting, there would be less parking strain and the current portion of commuters would decrease. I have already spoken with Infrastructure Chair Jonathan Amlong, and we have arranged a meeting with the facilities management. So thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Caroline. If you'll rejoin the breakout room, and Jenna, if you'll invite in Hannah Watts. All right, Hannah, you have 1 minute and your time will start whenever you begin.
Good evening, Senators. I'm Hannah Watts. I spoke at the last formal Senate, and I'm here again because I deeply care about bringing more representation for the School of Education and my fellow freshmen. Specifically for the freshmen, I want to digitize our dorm laundry rooms. With apps like Wash or an extension to the Get app, the laundry room experience can become more efficient with allowing students to know which machines are open, pay, as well as get notifications about laundry. And I have many other ideas that I'm passionate about, like standing desk, which I spoke about in the last Senate meeting, as well as including surveys of students who drop classes on teacher evaluations. I want to achieve all of this really through speaking with my fellow students and faculty and staff here at the university, because I believe that a policy is only as effective as the work that I put in. Ole Miss ASB has done so much to shape my campus experience that it would be an honor to be an active member of an organization that really makes a difference. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Hannah. If you'll rejoin the breakout room. Alrighty, once Hannah rejoins the breakout room, we will start debate. All right, perfect. Is there anyone wishing to debate? If so, please type debate in the chat and turn your camera on when your name is called. Senator Kelly, you're recognized.
All right, so I think that whenever we're talking about is going to replace the 2 open seats that we have, we need to pick people who are willing to work, show dedication, and really are passionate about the University of Mississippi. And the 2 that I think really demonstrate those qualities are Hannah Watts and Caroline Vilmoret. I think they both have a lot of different ideas that they've already started working towards accomplishing, and I think that would be a great asset asset to the associated student body. As for Hannah Watts, I know that she is an extremely hard worker, and when she says she's going to do something, you better know that it's going to get done. So she has already been talking about not only the things that she said in her speech. I know that she's talked to me about different other policies that she wants to implement at the University of Mississippi. So I think she would be a very, very effective leader. And I also think that because she's a freshman, we would have a lot more representation in this body, because I think we really do need young freshman voices in the Senate. And then as for Caroline Villamoret, I think that her ideas about housing reform and her infrastructure ideas are going to be a really good thing for the university. And with that, I yield the remainder of my time.
Thank you, Senator Kelly. Senator Monroe, you are recognized.
Yes, I would like to speak in favor of Jen and Caroline. I think that Caroline brings forth a really good idea of trying to improve some of the campus housing, because I think a lot of it is kind of not received the same attention that something like Pittman or Minor has received. And I think that would be something that would be really beneficial for the campus. And I like that she's already put forth the effort with the infrastructure committee and has already begun talks, even though she's not even sure of her position here. So I think that's really kind of indicative of the work that she'd put forth with if she actually got into Senate. As far as Jen goes, I think that her breadth of experience with, student body, the functions of it and all of that would be very beneficial to have an older voice, because graduate students are something that are relatively more rare in terms of Senate. And that's true for Hannah Watts as well. I do want to speak in favor of her. It goes the same for Hannah and Jen. Both are kind of representing underrepresented kind of, I guess, groups in Senate. And I think they both bring forth unique perspectives. And I yield the remainder of my time.
Thank you very much, Senator Monroe. Senator Hollowell.
Hi, yeah, I like to speak in favor of Jim Purcell. I really liked that she had this wealth of experience and had experience with her own version of IHL on different committees. Obviously has a lot of connections, and I always am advocating for more graduate students that want to get involved in ASB, because they're a good voice to have, can be good mentors and helping people figure out what they want to do after their undergrad. So I really think that it's going to be good to have a voice like that in ASB. So I would advocate voting for her. So I yield the remainder of my time.
Thank you very much, Senator Hollowell. Senator Wall. Oh, I don't think we can hear you, Kate. No, you're good.
Okay, can y'all hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, I'm not going to take up too much time reiterating what other people said, but I would like to throw my support behind Jen and Caroline Villamoret. Caroline, I know her personally, and I know that she will be hitting the ground running if she gets into Senate, so I think we should have her in. Thank you. I yield my time.
Thank you, Senator Wall. Senator Jones-Burdick. Senator Jones-Burdick, did you want to debate?
Yes. Hi, you all. Sorry if there was a bit of a delay. Senator Wall and I are sharing a room, but really great candidates. I just want to realistically put this open seat campaign into the perspective of our senators tonight. It's really important to recognize that, first of all, we only have so much time left. As I've been preaching throughout the semester, this election season is quickly coming upon us. We know that just in about a month, we will be having our petitions submitted and be gearing up for a campaign season. So with the time allotted, I really think it's in our best interest, as it has always been, to put in place candidates that are truly ready to hit the ground running. And I definitely saw that with both Caroline Villamoret and Jen Purcell. Both these individuals have a public policy analysis background, whether that's through formal education with the Lott Leadership Institute, which Caroline Villamoret is a part of, or undergraduate work, as Jen Purcell mentioned. And for those reasons, those are the candidates that I support, and I hope that you will as well. Thank you so much. I yield the remainder of my time.
Thank you, Senator Jones Burdick. We're going to go over to Senator Amlong.
Yeah, I just wanted to throw my support behind Caroline Villemoret. She met with me earlier this week, and I was really, really impressed with her. Just overall, her meeting and her ideas. Just I think as a candidate, meeting with a senator, coming with your ideas before even elected, really is impressive. We had a great meeting, and I think she would do a great job on Senate.
Thank you, Senator Amlong. Senator Greenwald.
Hello. I would like to speak on behalf of Jen Purcell. As Senator Jones Burdick previously stated, she's a shoo-in, I believe. Her qualifications speak for themselves. I love the ambitious plans I heard from some of the other candidates, but I believe that Jen Purcell is a shoo-in. She'll be able to make an impact immediately, and as previously stated, hit the ground running.
Thank you, Senator Greenwald. Senator Wilson.
Okay. Okay, I just wanted to jump on here real quick and agree with Senator Kelly about Hannah Watts. I know her personally, and she is very driven in a lot of areas. And just her speech tonight was extremely confident, and I think that she is going to hit the ground running, and her ideas were so awesome. And I think it's cool that freshmen want to get involved in like this important position, like in freshman year, and then she can really expand her experience in ASB. And I think she's an awesome person, and she would really add something. I yield the remainder of my time.
Thank you, Senator Wilson. Senator Roberts.
Hey, I wanted to express my support for Hannah Watts. I've been able to take a couple classes with Hannah, and I know that she is an incredibly committed student, has a great reputation among teachers and students alike. I was able to take a grant writing class with her at the Lott Institute that she's very involved with. And she was writing a grant for her hometown to build an athletics facility. And so she's very confident in her ability, and she's overqualified. And like Senator Kelly said before, it's great for freshmen to get involved in Senate. And just putting into perspective, like this is, if someone like Senator Watt, or hopefully Senator Watts, could get this seat, I mean, that's someone who 3-4 years down the line could be that much more experienced in helping future Senates and future members of the ASB if she can get in on the ground floor now. And so that is very important for a freshman to get involved in the Senate. And so I just wanted to throw my support behind Hannah Watts.
All right, thank you very much, Senator Roberts. Is there anyone else wishing to debate on these candidates? Okay. If there are no objections, we will suspend the rules and vote. In accordance with the ASB code, each senator is allowed 1 vote per open seat. So each senator may vote for 2 candidates this evening. The candidates receiving the most and second most votes will be named ASB at-large senators. So Secretary Hayward will now send out the ballot to all senators present. You do need to be logged into your school email to vote. So if you're having any trouble, you can try logging into your school account in a separate window, but we will give y'all just a few minutes to cast those ballots. And if anyone's having any problems, you can either speak up or send something in the chat. Senator Smith, I believe the name of the grad student was Jen.
Jen Purcell.
Secretary Hayward, are we still waiting on a decent number of ballots?
We're waiting on 3 more. We're waiting on Senator Ross, Senator Hughes, and Senator King.
I put in mine like a minute ago. So I don't know if it's like still saying you're waiting on me.
I never got an email.
Hold on 1 second. Macy, I just resent it to you. See if that works.
I just got it. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you.
I just submitted it.
Perfect. Thank you. Hey, Crystal, it still says that we haven't received one from you.
I'm not sure why, because like I did it.
I'm going to resend it. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
You should have it in your inbox now. See if that works.
Hey, it said I've already responded. It said you vote like I tried to.
Will you just
Re-
private chat me your vote, please?
Okay.
Thank you.
Senator Madsen asked us in the chat, but have the public opinion forms been sent out yet? And will they be sent out soon?
Yeah, that's a good question. Liaison Newsom, is there a status on that? I know you, like you said, we had almost 30 of them, so I'm sure it is taking a minute to get it all put together.
Did you get it, Kaylin?
Yes, I did. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, if y'all will bear with us, Caitlin just told me we have a tie for the second seat. Grace or Clark, can y'all confirm, do I break the tie or how does that work?
Hey, it's going to be a runoff between those two candidates. So just put the two tied candidates back on a new ballot if that's possible.
Okay, and then whoever receives more votes gets the Okay, gotcha. Caitlin, are you able to put that together?
Yeah, give me 1 second.
Thank you. Thank you for the clarification, Grace. If y'all will bear with us just for one more second, I appreciate y'all being patient.
Okay, y'all should receive a Google form titled Runoff. You're going to pick one. The candidates you're going to decide between are Jen Purcell and Caroline Villamarette.
All right, our newly elected at-large senators are Hannah Watts and Jen Purcell. So they should be joining us here in a moment. Yes, feel free to use the reactions for applause or the chat. Yeah. All right, we've got, let's see, there they are. All right, congratulations to Hannah and Jen. You've been elected ASB at-large senators. So if you would, please turn on your camera and mic and raise your right hand and repeat after me. All right, I do solemnly swear
I do
I do
solemnly
swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the Associated Student Body
the Constitution of the Associated
Student Body,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I
and
will
that I
faithfully discharge
the duties of ASB Senator
the
the
duties of
duties
ASB
of
Senator
ASB Senator
to the best of my ability.
to the
to
best
the
of my
best
ability.
ability.
Congratulations, Senators.
Thank you.
All right. We will now move into a period of introductions of bills and constitutional amendments.
Point of order.
Yes, please state your point.
The opinion forms have still not been sent.
Okay, thank you for that point. Liaison Newsom, is there any update on the responses to the submit your opinion form?
I have like 2 more to put on here. Like I promise it's coming in like 0.5 seconds. If you give me 5, like I got it.
All right, awesome, thank you. Yeah, so if there are no objections to a 5-minute recess to give Liaison Newsom time to finish that and send it out to y'all, and then hopefully y'all have a few minutes to read over those too. Any objections to a 5-minute recess? All right, perfect. We will now be in a 5-minute recess. We'll reconvene at 8 o'clock.
Caroline sent the forms outside. Recommend going ahead and start reading that if you have the time. I know we have about 1 more minute of recess.
All right, thank you very much for that, Caroline. We will now reconvene ASB Senate at 8 o'clock. All right.
Motion.
We will now, yeah, please state your motion.
Motion to extend the recess by 2 minutes to allow senators to effectively or like carefully read through the opinion pieces and, like give them the time that they deserve.
I've heard that motion. Clark, do we need a second? All right.
Second.
All right, all those in favor, please say aye. Or sorry, please type aye. And any opposed, please type no. All right, it is in my eyes that the ayes have it. We will reconvene this recess at, we'll call it, we're about halfway through 8:01, so we'll call it 8:04 p.m. All right, we will now reconvene the ASB Senate at 8:04 p.m. We will now move into a period of introduction of bills and constitutional amendments. If there is an author present for Senate Bill 22-1, you may turn on your camera. All right, thank you, authors. You have 5 minutes.
Can I get screen share privileges before I start?
Yes, sorry, give me 1 second. Did that allow you to do it, Maddie? All right. Y'all's 5 minutes will start whenever you begin.
Hi, everyone. So tonight, as you might have noticed from reading through the opinion forums, we are talking about election reform and hoping to get some good legislation passing through to increase equity in our elections. And so we will be considering Senate Bill 21-1, 21-2, and 21-3 tonight. Very briefly, those were the three pieces of legislation that we're considering tonight. But overall, we should kind of just start by talking about some of our current campaign norms. While campaigns are a really exciting time for a lot of our candidates and campaign staff, the environment has been described as electric. We realize that that's not the reality for all candidates and their campaign teams, as well as not the reality for all of the student body. And so for students who are on campus, they might be kind of intimidated by the current campaign norms of candidates standing in front of their signs, passing out stickers, trying to recruit people from the student union, like in front of the union, to take pictures. And so that can be intense for students who have never engaged with ASB before or with homecoming elections. And that's the first, sign that they get. You've all heard it from your friends, how much they avoid the Union Plaza at all costs just to avoid being, stuck with a sticker. Some students, feel like they're just a body to put a sticker on rather than someone who can engage with the candidates and actually learn about their platforms and ideas. You also might have heard that our student elections are cliquey. The pool of people who choose to be candidates and choose to run in our elections often have either been involved in ASB for years and years or have friends who have known how to run campaigns. And this kind of minimizes the candidate pool that we often see because people self-select out of the process, realizing that they might not know how elections work and are intimidated by that. We also know that student elections can be exhausting, especially for students with disabilities who might not be able to stand in front of signs and pass out stickers for hours and hours and hours on end, as well as the mental health toll that it takes on candidates to constantly be present, passing out stickers, engaging with students, and having that relationship with their candidacy. And so I'll pass it over to Maddie to kind of talk about what we're proposing as a solution to this.
Yeah, so also just to reiterate, GovOps is working on this today because in the code we are supposed to be working on election stuff, and we're trying to find solutions to the those first little ICE things, but let's rethink ISO, the ICE thing. We're trying to consider alternatives that are inclusive, so solutions that allow and encourage candidates and voters of all demographics and involvement, creative solutions that leave room for creativity for candidates to utilize the budget and how they would like without feeling isolated or inappropriate. Also equitable solutions that eliminate as much as possible barriers to participating in elections and unwritten rules of campaigning that become normalized. So we're trying to find a way, and we feel like these bills have found a way that both promotes candidates and protects the student body and campus grounds. So first with Senate Bill 22-1, which is, as you can see here, the main part that we're changing is in red. Tackling campaign signs is crucial when looking for solutions we can implement that maintain a delicate balance between candidates and campus. Signs are an awesome tradition that we have at this university, and Senate Bill 22-1 proposes adding those dimensions to make signs go from freestanding to the dimensions of these lovely student union tables. Currently, many unwritten norms we have for signs are intimidating for potential candidates to figure out alone, discouraging involvement. Tonight, we believe the solution takes the opportunity we have in Senate to give space for new campaign norms while maintaining our traditions. The dimensions here are not meant to stifle creativity, but to match the measurements of the table and encourage creativity. With a booth kind of concept, a sign can be made of multiple materials, whether painted wood, banner, tablecloth, paper, or even printed vinyl, and still eye-catching and visible, assisting candidates with campaign efforts effectively. So you can see here, this sign it's the same dimensions, and it's large, it's eye-catching, and this also more involves Senate Bill 22-2, but tabling provides a place of storage and acceptable rest for candidates, while also providing a barrier between campaigners and students. It's best interest of the candidates to stand to the side of the sign or behind the table instead of front of the sign and in the walkway because their sign is on the ground. This clears the Union Plaza a little bit and respects students who are not campaigning and maybe just trying to get to class and don't want to take an excessive detour. But tonight is like just about the dimensions. It's up to the Attorney General's advisory opinions that regulate it any further. I hope you find that this bill accomplishes the burden I mentioned earlier, which is to find a way to campaign that promotes candidates and protects the student body and campus grounds. And we yield the remainder of our time, Grace. Yes.
All right, thank you very much, authors. Is there anyone wishing, if there is anyone wishing to question the authors, excuse me, please type question in the chat and turn your camera on when your name is called. Okay, Senator Osman.
I just wanted to ask a quick question. Can you hear me? Yeah. Okay, I'm running up. I just wanted to ask a quick question about the amount of research that was put into this legislation concerning the cost and how that was factored into actually bringing this legislation to the.
Yeah, so, when we first started thinking about, tackling specifically signs, but, tackling campaign reform, we went through a long process of, brainstorming lots of different ideas, having conversations with people that are interested in running campaigns, people who have already ran campaigns, people that are not even interested in running campaigns, but are students on this campus that are ultimately affected by our campaigns on campus. I mean, it's interesting to think like how far we've come just like through winter break with these conversations. And so I think that lots of hours of research were put into this. We had lots of conversations. I think that anyone that's worked on legislation in ASB knows how much time goes into every single piece of legislation, and this was no exception. And this was a solution that we, like I said, that came to mind that was, both in the best interest of candidates that maintain tradition while also, gave room to redefine the norms that we have on campus and protect campus grounds and student body and respecting their rights.
And if I could jump in real quick on that in terms of cost, by looking at past expense reports, we see that the average typical wooden sign, which are kind of norms in our elections, the average sign costs around $200, even if you buy it from a previous candidate. And so with the new signs, you have cost options as low as $5 for butcher poster and some acrylic paint to, if you want to get a printed poster, obviously that's going to be a little bit more expensive, but this having these new type of signs and kind of developing a new norm can reduce the cost by as much as $195.
And just gives, more freedom for creativity and, candidates trying new things without being ostracized.
Senator Osman, was that your only question?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Senator Greenwald.
Yes. So I feel as if this question comes up in a lot of periods of questions, but I feel like it has to be asked. As far as signs go and regulations regarding signs, is there a precedence for rules at other SEC schools about having signs, about having specific dimensions? How does it work? Is that something you're informed in? I'm just wondering.
Yeah, so I'll give you an example. Auburn in their election code actually does not allow banners. They allow like small yard sign type signs, but they don't allow large banners at campaign stops, like for example, like a table at the student union. And I know that there were a lot of concerns about voter turnout in the opinions form that were submitted, and we definitely hear that. But just kind of looking at numbers, Auburn has consistently had at least 10% higher voter turnout than us in all of their elections. And so they've found ways to creatively campaign without, for example, large banners.
Thank you so
my
much.
answer, sorry.
All right. Thank you so much. You answered my questions. I yield the remainder of my time.
Thank you, Senator Greenwald. Senator Monroe.
In specific reference to some of the questions posed in the senatorial comment, what is the cost breakdown of the oh wait, that's Senate Bill 22. Never mind. I yield the remainder of my time.
All right, thank you, Senator Monroe. Senator Pierce.
Hi. Yeah, just like before all these election reform bills get going, I just want to ask, like, did y'all consider public financing, like by the university for these elections as an option and like helping to make elections more equitable?
Yeah, absolutely. So we had the elections roundtable discussion in October, and as you can read in some of the student opinion forums, a lot of people mentioned like other possible ways to make campaigns less expensive, and that's something that gets brought up over and over again. Of, can ASB give candidate signs? Can ASB fund campaigns? And because of state public finance laws, we currently cannot do that, like by Mississippi state law. And so we've tried to explore those avenues. If that avenue worked, that's what we would be proposing right now. But this is the option that makes the most logistical sense and doesn't, break Mississippi state law.
Okay, thank you very much. That actually helps my understanding quite a bit.
All right, thank you, Senator Pierce. Senator Amlong, you're recognized.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask about just a certain question in reference to one of the student opinion forums. Actually, a couple of them. They mentioned how in the elections roundtable, like specifically the one by Olivia Maurer, I believe, or Kylie Cockrell and Harrison Grimes, how they mentioned in the election roundtable that it seemed like no one who worked on the campaign would have supported anything like this, or it didn't really come up, but it was used as justification in the bill. And I might be confused on this, but if you can just kind of explain what went on the roundtable and how that factored into this bill, that would be great.
Yeah, so the roundtable, y'all probably heard me talk about Senate before it happened. It happened in October. We specifically emailed all of the candidates from fall elections and their campaign managers, so they were welcome to come. We opened it to the public and to members of ASB. We reached out to all of y'all as well. And so we had about 20 people attend those roundtables, members of GovOps, candidates from fall elections, campaign managers from fall elections. And so one of the questions was that I posed was, what do we think about our current campaign materials? And so we had a discussion about that for about 30 minutes. And I have my notes from that meeting that have not been edited since October 20th. And I have a bullet point in my notes that says the bottom line on signs means that we need to keep signs but make them more accessible. And so all of the legislation being pursued and all of the policies that we want to change have kept that in mind. And so I think to say that we didn't consider anything that any of those people coming to the roundtable had to say, we've tried to explore all of the avenues that they've suggested of finding better storage for signs, but this is the best way possible that in 4-month-long conversations between the DOJ and GovOps, we could come up with to keep signs in the current format, keep them very visible, keep them wooden even if we want, but to make them more accessible to candidates from a variety of backgrounds and with different types of means, and whenever candidates decide to run would still be able to have a sign.
Yeah. Yes. Well, wait. Yeah, I think we.
I think what Maddie would like me to add is that I have the list, all of those notes from that meeting, as well as the list of attendees for that meeting. So that's definitely something that I would be willing to share with you all as well.
Thank you. I yield the remainder of my time.
Thank you very much, Senator Amlong. Is there anyone else wishing to question the authors? All right. If there are no objections, we will suspend the rules and begin debate. Thank you very much, authors. If there is anyone wishing to debate the bill, please type debate in the chat and turn your camera on when your name is called. Senator Monroe, you're recognized.
Hi, so I, first of all, would like to stand in support of this bill. I believe that is something that will lead to greater equity in our elections and allow people that previously were scared off by the kind of aggressive form of our current campaigns to not only be able to participate, but also be encouraged to participate. Because I currently think that the bill that we are proposing is one that will make people want to be involved rather than not. Furthermore, I would like to address some of the comments made in the senatorial comment stating that this bill is something that's a waste of time and that we should focus our efforts on diversity, equity, inclusion. And it is something I very much agree. We should focus our efforts on diversity, equity, inclusion. And that is what I think this bill's goal is attempting to accomplish. I do not believe that the accusation stating that this is not the bill's intent is accurate. And I would like to stand firmly in support of this bill's goal of having at its core the intent of making elections something that are more open to everyone that wants to be involved. Furthermore, I would also like to state that I was at the roundtable discussion on the elections, and the general consensus was that yes, we do want signs, but even from the election candidates, and I find it slightly confusing that the election candidates stated that they were not in favor of the current propositions because they were actually saying that the signs were cumbersome and hard to handle and store, even though they were in favor of signs. I think we're trying to find a happy medium where everyone can be content and actually accomplish what they are seeking to accomplish in their election season. I yield the remainder of my time.
Thank you, Senator. Excuse me, Senator Monroe. Senator Amlong, you're recognized.
Yeah, first off, I'd like to commend everyone who worked on this. And obviously, I think, making elections more fair and accessible to students definitely is a great goal. But I would just like to say I do not support this bill as it stands. Personally, a lot of the comments made in the student opinion forms really kind of appealed to me, particularly mentioning about kind of the atmosphere the signs create, especially around campaign season. I know there was one mention about how student ambassadors, which I'm one, like giving tours and seeing the excitement of everyone standing in front of their sign. I really think that's a big thing. And just to kind of put it more plainly, I think they're very fun. I think they're very cool. I think they're very unique. And I completely understand the goal of keeping that atmosphere, but trying to make it more accessible. I just do not believe this is the best way to do it. I'll be the first to admit I don't have maybe a better solution right now. But just the bill as I read it, this idea eliminating these larger signs that are standing up, I don't support that. I will say I do like the idea of having like tables and setting that up for each candidate. I think that's a good idea. Kind of put some distance between the candidates and people walking, kind of has everyone a nice spot in front of the union where they can stand, a defined spot. I like that idea. It's just my opinion on it. I just don't think this is the best way to go about it. I really like the signs. I'm going to be honest. I yield the remainder of my time.
Thank you, Senator Amlong. Senator Wilson.
Okay, so I have been thinking about this, and I was talking to some people, some constituents, and they kind of addressed how with the signing, like scaling it down and making it in a tabling format, a lot of people thought that that would actually be like a less inclusive environment because people don't really come up to the tables, and they were kind of talking about how people will only come up to like the people they know, and it will be more of like a popularity contest instead of like the creative freedom on like the bigger signs have, and like being able to stand in front of them and like be personable and people see you. But when you're like sitting down and like behind a sign, I feel like it's really, I could see where it will turn into like a popularity contest, and oh, the person that's involved in everything that they see on campus, oh, they're going to go up to them, and like they're going to have like, and people are going to see people going up to them, but like smaller candidates are going to have a tougher time because it just, I agree in that perspective of like how it might be a little popularity contest vibes. And I do like appreciate the bill and the things that it's addressing. Like I understand like how that can be uninclusive having those big signs. But from that perspective and like making it like ASB tabling in a way with like the signs in front of the table, I just don't really know if people are going to be engaged. It's going to be fun, and it's actually going to be really good for all candidates. I yield the remainder of my time.
Thank you, Senator Wilson. Senator Williams.
I kind of want to say I stand in affirmation of the bill because I kind of understand exactly where this bill is coming from, because looking at the signs, they can kind of deter people that aren't usually as wealthy, or sometimes I would even kind of correlate that to Greek life. People that aren't in Greek life usually do have the smaller signs. I mean, usually do have smaller signs. And also we look at the history, usually the people who are the winners of a lot of elections are people that's in Greek life. And I think that is kind of attributed to some people that aren't in Greek life, or some less fortunate people just kind of being intimidated by running. And I think by kind of changing this format, people will feel more like they have a shot and feel more like the playing field is basically leveled. I yield the remainder of my time.
Thank you, Senator Williams. Senator Ryan.
Hello. So I just wanted to acknowledge some statements from previous senators and just kind of like my perspective on them. So one, starting with, the atmosphere. I think we're forgetting what university we go to. We go to Ole Miss, where, we're known for never losing a party. Even in the face of defeat, losing a game horribly, Ole Miss students are known for, still having a good time, still bringing the energy. And I think it's negligent to state that, we are dependent on freestanding signs for positivity and excitement during campaign season. I don't think that we're losing those things, and I don't think we will. I don't think it's in the spirit of this university. And then as for the statements about, like the intimidation of tabling, I think that, that's a great concern. However, the universities that currently do tabling have not seen any other SEC universities, specifically like, like Mississippi State does tabling, have not seen, issues with voter turnout. And so we believe that, with everyone having access to a table, which that is also not this legislation, but that would be Senate Bill 22-2. But, with a table, that shouldn't be impeding on, approachability, and also should incentivize candidates to, think of creative ways to and draw in students and advertise to them. And also in Senate Bill 22-2, it says that they may use a table. So that's actually dependent on the advisory opinion, whether or not they're required to be using a table. And I don't think that they would be per connections with the Department of Justice, but I yield the remainder of my time.
Thank you, Senator Ryan. Senator Osman.
So when I saw this legislation and I was a part of some of the conversations about it, kind of what resonated with me the most is, why do people run? And when you're thinking about running, what are all the things that you have to think about? I know a lot of candidates that I talked to, they said, well, I have to think about a video, I have to think about stickers, my and et cetera, et cetera. And I remember the sign was the most campaign. The sign was the most stressful part of the campaign. We were on for the sign. An issue fell apart on the side of the more compelled to vote yes for this legislation, because looking at a candidate and looking at dollars on a sign alone, that may deter a lot of people from even thinking about running. And considering this legislation, I would know my Wi-Fi is a great candidate from even running in general. And I yield the remainder of time if y'all could hear any of that.
Thank you, Senator Osman. We lost you there for a moment, so if you would like to summarize your thoughts in the chat, I'll allow that. Senator Monroe, you're recognized.
So I would just like to respond to a couple of the previous senators' comments. Senator Ryan covered much of what I was going to respond to, but I am not necessarily agreeing with the idea that tabling, or at least using a sign that is smaller, would lead to a popularity contest, due to the fact that the majority of constituents with whom I've spoken actively will just walk past as fast as possible when they're going through election season, and are not going to really communicate with anyone that they know or don't know, just due to the current aggressive nature and kind of intimidating factors that are kind of allied with our current elections and how they function. I think that the people that are going to go specifically just to the table, the person that they know, are going to still do that for the sign. I think that won't change. I think that tabling will actually encourage more people who would be deterred from approaching the signage to be involved in voting. And that's supported by the data that we've looked into with Auburn's elections having higher turnout, as well as other SEC schools. So I see the concerns that are posed. However, I think that those are ones that can be refuted by some of the data we've looked into, and that I don't necessarily agree with just in principle. I yield the remainder. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Thank you, Senator Monroe. Senator Matson, you're recognized.
All right, cool. So I really didn't have too many thoughts on this legislation when I first read it, but something that really kind of, I guess, compelled me to speak a bit was a lot of like the statements given by the public that were in the Google Doc. And I personally think, especially when we are working as the voices for the student body, the number one people who we should be in tune with and connected to is the same people that we're representing. And just kind of reading some of those, talking into like the regards of like, it really didn't feel like, oh God, it really didn't feel like they were being heard, or it felt like none of what they were kind of talking about and looking into was brought into account, especially with like, I think there were like five of them at that point. It really is kind of like startling a bit. I think that the goals are beautiful for this legislation. I think there's a lot of good things that we need to address, but I don't think directly limiting the amount of creativity that some of these people can have and some of the electorates can or potential candidates can kind of like gun for is the right way to do it. I think there's a ton of other opportunities potentially, whether that's like being able to create networks where donated signs can all be there to make it a more inclusive environment, not through, I guess, limiting, but more through providing. I think that makes sense, but I yield the remainder of my time.
Thank you very much, Senator Matson. Deputy Attorney General Hirsch, you're recognized.
Hey y'all, sorry about, I don't know whether I was showing up on the author introduction or not. I had some weird technical difficulties that I finally got worked out. In response to some concerns that have been addressed, it's important for us to emphasize what the goal of this effort is. It's twofold. The first is to get more candidates into races which ordinarily are unable to do so. To respond to concerns from a previous senator, we're addressing these things by making it more accessible to get into the race in the first place. There's a certain amount of intimidation that comes, like, Senator Osmond was saying before, to having to build the sign, the costs of assembling a sign, the resources required to move a sign in position that force candidates to no longer participate in our races. That's why a big part of the reason why we see so few candidates for exec races, but so many for Senate races, right? Senate Bill 22-2 helps address some of these concerns by creating a place where a lot of people can come around to. But in response to Senator Matson's concerns, we're also increasing the creativity here. We're allowed to use other materials that we can't currently use in our current formats. Draping materials, for example, using canvas or using tablecloths, are things that we can't do right now. We're increasing creativity, we're increasing accessibility, we're addressing these concerns by allowing people to go through with the formats that they want to instead of being forced into something which they may not be able to do. When we give people options, people make choices that they want to. That gets the type of engagement that we want to get. The second thing that we have to consider is how this looks to the average student. And to be honest with you, the average student doesn't really care about ASB elections. They don't want to get yelled at. They don't want to be forced to take a sticker, which they then immediately throw away. They want to go to class. We need to create an environment that people can all engage in. These pieces of legislation are an important step to getting to that point. I'll yield back.
Thank you, Deputy Attorney General. Senator Turner, you're recognized.
Thank y'all. I think there's been a lot of great ideas discussed here, and I think the objective of this legislation, I respect it, and I think that it is a problem that signs and other current ways that our elections operate might cause some intimidation to some students. But as some of the senators have already said, I kind of echo some of the respects that Senator Wilson and Senator Matson had said. I don't think that limiting the size of signs in this case will stop, some of the problems that we're presenting. I mean, I don't think that it will reduce kind of the chaotic atmosphere that these signs supposedly have been attributed to but rather increase it, because I think instead of transitioning from this kind of free in my as an observer free format where people can roam in front of the signs to a tabling format that requires people to stop and draw crowds in front of the tables. I don't necessarily think that will lessen kind of the chaotic environment. As well, I kind of agree with Genevieve's comments about popularity contests. People see tables. I don't really think that would help with engagement very much, because in my experience, most people just disregard them. And that may be of some merit to what James was saying, that most people may not really care about elections. There's not much you can do about that. But I don't necessarily think that limiting the signs in this case will accomplish the goals of this legislation. Thank you. I yield the remainder of my time.
All right, thank you, Senator Turner. Attorney General Dragna, you're recognized.
Thank you. So I'd like to start by addressing some of the concerns about the opinion form by telling a story from my own experience with fall elections. So without obviously saying names or anything, when it was time for candidates to place their signs on the Union Plaza at the beginning of fall elections, I had a candidate come to the Union Plaza and approach me, and they said, wait, I didn't realize I was supposed to have a wooden sign. And I said, oh, it doesn't have to be a wooden sign. There are no real regulations on signs other than it would be bigger than a standard sheet of paper, 8x11. And they were like, well, my banner is paper. And I said, that's fine. Like we have materials in the union, we can put it up. And they said, that's fine. I'm just not going to put my sign up. And so that's what I'm talking about when I mean that the materials that have become the norm in student elections are actually deterring people from fully engaging and participating in these elections. Fortunately, this candidate was still out on the Union Plaza every day, campaigning, but the materials that are the norm in our elections actually do have an effect on candidates. And I think that's what we're kind of missing here when we're hearing opinions from people who have worked on successful campaigns that have had wooden signs built very easily. So I just would really urge you all to consider the perspective of a student who might decide last minute to run. They just heard about the opportunity to run for a homecoming office or for ASB, and they have a week to put together, hypothetically, a wooden sign to meet the standard of other candidates. I just really would urge you to consider from that perspective when we're talking about what's fun and what's traditional. Just think about the actual equity in our elections. I yield the rest of my time.
Thank you, Attorney General Dragna. President Atkins, you're recognized.
Hey y'all, so I will be fast because I feel like a lot of the comments that I want to make have already been discussed. But I wanted to come on here and talk about actually being a candidate, because I do feel like that's a perspective that is yet to be brought to this discussion. And I don't know how many of y'all know about elections last year, but my fellow exec and I had the really fun opportunity to have to put together our election in the middle of the ice storm, and being the first in-person candidates with signs since before the pandemic. And I don't think I can express to y'all that signs are a great deal of fun if you're someone who's a part of these elections. The opinions that have been discussed tonight, obviously, I'm not a senator, so I didn't get them, but the ones that have been named tonight, I have a feeling are people who have been involved in these elections from the very beginning and feel the excitement and the hype, but also are a part of organizations and structural setups to make sure that they are put in the position where they can have signs, they can have the materials they need. I was lucky enough when I had a sign that my dad could come down before the snowstorm hit and built it, and I was able to start working on it. But that's not an option everybody has. If people are running in a dorm room, if people are running in an apartment, if people are running and using the space that they live in right now to store these things, it needs to be something small enough that they are able to keep and transport. And additionally, the prices of these materials are obscene. The majority of my budget for my campaign was on marketing, and the other half was on the sign. And the sign, we can't value time for candidates either. And I think it is hard to grasp how much time and effort has to go into these signs when they simply don't have to be this large production. And we don't lose any of the authenticity, any of the fun, any of the excitement that are in elections, because people are going to buy in if they want to. Wood does not make the atmosphere. The person does, the candidate does, and the campaign team does. And I think it's also important to note that assuming that elections aren't already popularity contests and that people aren't already drawn to candidates based off prior knowledge and communication is a really naive sentiment to go into this with. I yield the remainder of my time.
Thank you, President Atkins. Senator Amlong, you're recognized.
I revoked my debate. My bad.
All right, thank you, Senator Amlong. Senator Wilson, you're recognized.
Okay. I just have two general ponderings that perhaps someone who helped write this could like debate after or like there's add a comment on whenever. But I feel like even though the sign's now in front of a table, like I feel like it would still take a lot of work. That's still a pretty big size and would still require some significant materials. I mean, maybe not as much that one that has to like literally stand up vertically, but I still feel like there's some concerns there. And then also I'm wondering about like this Mississippi State Auburn data, like is that like comparative to Ole Miss, like 10% more? Because both of those schools are definitely bigger. And I would assume that they both would have a higher voter turnout just in general. So I'm wondering if like that's like in comparison to the ratio of our size, just general thoughts. I yield the remainder of my time.
Thank you, Senator Wilson. Senator Monroe, you're recognized.
Hey, yeah, I just wanted to, honestly, a couple of these points have already been covered, but I'm just going to exit them slightly, but I also have a couple other things to explain. As President Atkins had recently mentioned, the current wind signage is, although it is fun for candidates to create, it is something that can become a huge barrier for those that are in apartments that don't have somewhere to store the sign. The sign is not just what it is on the surface. It's something that has to be created, built, painted. It has to be transported. It has to be taken off campus at a very specific time. It can't be on campus after a certain time. It has to have somewhere to be stored. And these signs are large. They are rigid. They can't be condensed or in any way, shape, and to be easily transported. That is something that we were thinking about when we were also discussing with candidates that went to the roundtable. How can we make these signs, while not completely reducing the size to like a piece of paper, but making it something that is transportable and manageable for maybe a team of two to handle? You have to have a massive team and a transportation system in order to handle these large signs. As well, I also wanted to mention that, as this is my understanding of the data, Senator Ryan and Attorney General Dragna can address this as well. The percentages are based on the population of students. So they are comparable when we're saying, so if you have 10% more of the population of students, that's 10% of the total number in comparison. So that's how we made those comparisons. It's not just a random number that we drew. I yield the remainder.
Thank you, Senator Monroe. Senator Ryan, you're recognized.
Hey, so thank you so much to that senator for I think I can name actually. So thank you so much, Senator Wilson, for asking that question. So I have the numbers actually, for making a sign. Since we did move to tables, it would be kind of like I said, recreating that norm. And so one of the options I discussed was vinyl, which you could just upload your design and then get it printed. And the cost that I have for that per Vistaprint, I have it with the 2.5 by 6 feet outdoor material, the grommets or whatever, $66. So that is an option. If time is the barrier for you, going that way, and that is also significantly cheaper than what we're talking about earlier. But that's like an option that someone could opt into if they didn't want that experience of like painting the sign, which is still an available opportunity if this bill is passed. I yield the remainder of my time.
Thank you, Senator Ryan. President Atkins, did you still want to debate?
Yeah, just right quick. I wanted to add with the creative differences that are being allowed for in this piece of legislation, there are actually a lot of opportunities that open up for students who don't want to do a traditional sign, but also like affordable options for low-income students as well. Currently, you can actually go to the library and get posters and things like that printed out. And so that's something that students who don't have transportation to go off campus and transport large signs have. And like Maddie was saying, there's obviously an option to get it done online, but there are local businesses in Oxford here that will print out a lot of these same materials. And so it makes it accessible a lot more at the local level for students as well. I yield the remainder of my time.
Thank you, President Atkins. Is there anyone else wishing to debate? Anybody that I missed in the chat, or anyone else wishing to debate this legislation? All right, if there are no objections, we will suspend the rules and move into a period of author summation. If the authors wish summation time, please turn on your camera. All right, your time will begin when you start. You have 5 minutes.
Hey, y'all. I would just like to start by kind of asking you to put yourself in the shoes of someone who just found out about the opportunity to run for homecoming office, and you find out that the campaign period begins in a week. Ask yourself realistically, in the situation that you have right now, you don't know anything about elections other than that most people build wooden signs, whether in a week's time, you can think about right now during your busy semester, you would have time to acquire the materials, construct and transport an 8x8 wooden sign that has become the norm in our elections. That's a hypothetical question, obviously, but like, I know that I personally would not be able to do that. And so I just ask you all to think from the perspective of people who want to participate in elections, who want to have leadership roles on campus, but are finding out through ASB social media or finding out through word of mouth about the opportunity later than people who have the advantage of, knowing about these, building campaign teams, having a sign handed down to them over a course of months. And we realize that there are thoughts about the roundtable about other options that could have been considered. But as I've said, a lot of those options do require public financing of ASB elections, and Mississippi state law does not allow ASB to provide candidates with signs or funds. And so as much as that would be the ideal solution to this, we've tried to explore those options. We really tried to listen to those people who felt unheard in the elections roundtable. And so we were trying to take their feedback and still allow signs and allow for more creativity, but in a way that is legal by Mississippi state law, and also takes into account students who may have just found out about elections and cannot feasibly construct a sign of that size. So again, we're just trying to encourage creativity. And because of that, I kind of want to share a picture of what campaigning at Mississippi State looks like for their homecoming elections. I think that can give us an idea of how fun these elections can still be with tabling. Yes, Richard just gave me screen share capability, so let me share this now. So as you can see, this candidate has her banner draped over the table, and on the top, she's been able to do fun things with the service project for her campaign. And so that's the kind of creativity that could be allowed with this. There's been a lot of discussions about how voter turnout may diminish visibility concerns. There may be popularity contests. The fact of the matter is we don't know, because we've never tried this version of elections before. And so I would really just ask you all to take the chance on this, to be creative. And who knows, we might get a new field of candidates for ASB elections and homecoming elections that never would have run before. So yeah, I'll pass it over to Maddie for any closing thoughts.
James, did you want to say something before I go? Okay, awesome. Yeah, so, I just want to, again, reiterate, the task that we were kind of presented was finding a way that, promotes candidates and protects the student body and campus grounds. Finding a solution with the limitations that we, as Grace had mentioned, was really difficult. And, but this is where this piece of legislation and the two that follow are, what we are proposing that we believe is the best fit and the best solution here. I am asking that y'all provide me and the Department of Justice with the same trust that you had in us when we were doing the code rewrites, that these decisions were not taken lightly, that these alternatives and solutions were well thought out and well intentioned. And I also, I hope that, everyone will, if these are passed, would find the same excitement and enthusiasm for elections as we've been having, but also a more inclusive and encouraging and less intimidating atmosphere. And with that, I think we're good to yield the remainder of our time.
All right, thank you very much, authors. If there are no objections, we'll suspend the rules and vote by roll call. So the way this is going to work on Zoom is that I will give y'all the option to either say or type aye or no when your name is called by Caitlin. So if y'all would just be patient with us, she might have to ask you again what you said, but yeah, you're good to go, Caitlin.
Long.
No.
Anderson.
Aye.
Ashmore,
Aye.
Beard,
No.
Burgess, Emmy Burgess, Hooper,
Aye.
DeQuilla,
Aye.
DeBell,
Aye.
Day,
Aye.
Deadman, Will Deadman, Durbindy,
Aye.
Drury,
Aye.
Greenwall,
No.
Gully,
No.
Harris,
Aye.
Hertz,
Hey, sorry.
Hollowell, Howell, Hughes,
Aye.
Jackson, Ben Jackson, Johnston,
No.
Jones Burdick,
Aye.
Kelly,
No.
King, Ladner,
No.
Lopez, Soto Lopez,
Aye.
Matson,
No.
Monroe,
Aye.
Murphy,
No.
Neighbors,
Aye.
Nelson,
Nay.
Osmond, Patterson,
No.
Pierce.
Hey,
Was that a nay?
Yeah, I believe that was a no, Caitlin.
Perfect. Ricketts, Rachel Ricketts, Roberts,
No.
Ross,
Aye.
Ryan,
Aye.
Saloon,
No.
Smith,
Aye.
Stradinger, Alex Stradinger,
He had just rejoined the meeting. He might, I'm not sure if he's having internet problems or not.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. My audio has been switching from my AirPods to my phone.
What's
How do
your vote, Alex?
Aye.
Thank you. Turner,
Yeah.
No.
Wall,
Aye.
Watts,
Aye.
Williams,
Aye.
Wilson,
No.
and White.
No.
Caitlin, would you mind double checking, just because I know we're on Zoom, the people that you don't have a vote for?
Yes. Let's see.
Or the people that,
King,
the people who were here at the beginning of the meeting who you don't have a vote for?
all I'm missing is King.
All right, if y'all will give us 1 second to get those tallied.
Ben Jackson.
All right, sorry to keep y'all waiting. We wanted to make sure we got an accurate count for y'all. All right, by a vote of 23 to 18 to 0, Senate Bill 22-1 passes. All right. If there is an author present for Senate Bill 22-2, you may turn on your camera now. All right. Authors, you'll have 5 minutes for presentation time. We'll start whenever you begin.
Okay, hello, 1 second. Okay. Slideshow. Okay, we're back. Slideshow time. Next we have Senate Bill 22-2, which is tabling for elections. And so as you see here, we have Richard again seeking re-election, but this time he has some balloons, some buttons to pass out, and that's kind of what we're thinking here. You know, the table can provide a place of storage, but also a place of acceptable rest. We in the elections roundtable got a lot of concerns about like how can we make it easier for candidates, like give them an easier time, and we found that, you know, like they don't have to sit down, obviously, and I assume, like just by my assumption, I don't think that they would probably be sitting down most of the time, but you know, making it where it's okay to, like, it's okay to, you know, rest a little bit during campaign season, and also there's a lot of ways you can get creative, like how Attorney General Dragna just showed with Mississippi State and signing the tables. There's lots of different ways that you can utilize them, and in conjunction with Senate Bill 22-1, which just passed, the sign in, like, our idea would be that the sign would be propped up against the table. So this is kind of just like the second half of getting that through. And so, yeah, unless Attorney General has any thoughts, I think we have the remainder of our time.
If I could just clarify the logistics, I think, am I echoing?
Oh.
Basically, the way that this would work is that every candidate for spring elections. So if that's a concern, we do know that this will be available for spring elections without the older time.
All right, thank you very much, authors. Is there anyone wishing to question the author? If so, please type question in the chat.
Motion.
Yeah, please state that motion.
Motion to move from a period of question to a period of debate.
I'll hear that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor, if you'll please type aye in the chat. And any opposed, please type no. All right. It is in my opinion that the ayes have it. We'll now move into a period of debate. Thank you, authors. If there's anyone wishing to debate this legislation, please type debate in the chat. Senator Monroe, you're recognized.
Hi, all. So something I want to point out about tabling that was brought up at the roundtable discussion. While should be, or there could be free movement around the tables and in that kind of circle of influence, there also is the consideration that we took in when we were doing the election roundtable. This was brought up during that discussion of those that are disabled and not able to stand for such lengths of time as those that are not, are able to still freely engage in an equitable sense with the other candidates with their constituents and with their possible voters, because they're able to sit behind their table while still being effectively able to communicate their campaign and everything behind that sense. So that is something that I want y'all to take into consideration when we're discussing campaigning, because it's something that is going to allow for greater equity in our elections. I yield the remainder of my time.
Thank you, Senator Monroe. Is there anyone else wishing to debate Senate Bill 22-2? Okay. If there are no objections, then we'll suspend the rules and move into a period of author summation. If the authors wish summation time, y'all may turn on y'all's cameras now. All right. Then if there are no objections, we will now suspend the rules and vote by roll call. Okay. Like I said, the same rules apply. If you'll please type aye or no in the chat, or you can say it out loud whenever the clerk calls roll.
Okay, Amlong. Anderson. Ashmore.
Aye.
Beard.
Aye.
Burgess. Cooper. DeQuilla.
Aye.
DeBell. Day.
Aye.
Deadman.
Aye.
Durbandy.
Aye.
Drury.
Aye.
Greenwall.
Aye.
Gully.
Aye.
Harris.
Aye.
Hertz.
Aye.
Hollowell. Howell. Hughes.
Aye.
Jackson. Johnston.
Aye.
Jones Burdick.
Aye.
Kelly.
Aye.
King. Ladner.
Aye.
Soto Lopez.
Aye.
Matson. Monroe.
Aye.
Murphy. Neighbors.
Aye.
Nelson. Osmond. Patterson.
Aye.
Pierce.
Aye.
Ricketts. Roberts.
Aye.
Ross.
Aye.
Ryan.
Aye.
Saloon.
Aye.
Smith.
Aye.
Stradinger. Alex Stradinger. Turner.
Aye.
Wall.
Aye.
Watts. Williams. Devin Williams.
Aye.
Wilson.
No.
White.
Aye.
All right, if y'all give us just 1 second.
Hey, Emmy, do you want to place your vote real quick?
I think I saw Emmy disconnect. She may have like some connection issues. I'm not sure.
Perfect. Thank you, Wake.
Up again. Yeah, I think she may be having some issues.
All right, by a vote of 38 to 1 to 0, Senate Bill 22-2 passes. All right. Hopefully we can get back in person so we can have some applause between these bills, not awkward silence. But anyways, if there's an author present for Senate Bill 22-3, you can now turn on your camera. All right.
Okay, so yeah.
Oh, sorry. Y'all have 5 minutes. You're
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, so Maddie's gonna pull it up. What we're essentially talking about here are stickers. Adhesives are the language you used in 22-3. But we're really concerned about the fact that every year when they have elections, you have stickers. You get new ones every day. They just end up everywhere. People stick them in places they aren't supposed to be. They damage campus property. Burdensome for Elections Review Board. A lot of claims of elections violations are due to stickers being placed in the wrong areas. People just possibly looking to get someone else in trouble, can find a sticker easily. You lose a lot of control when you give them out. You have to give out a lot. And she says boring. Yeah, because we want to encourage creativity. Obviously, a lot of people are going to go towards buttons, and that's what a lot of people have used in the past according to their budgets. But we want to really encourage creativity, whether that be flyers, you want to give out a small card, anything that fits within the guidelines of being non-adhesive, under $1. We really want people to be creative. We understand people are going to have problems maybe with thinking that buttons are more expensive and stickers are cheap, but we really think that having buttons is going to be you're going to be able to use the same buttons over and over again. They're much easier to keep up with. You're not going to have to use as many with stickers. You have to hand out stickers to your volunteers every day, new ones. So just being able to, be more friendly to the environment, not have stickers going everywhere. Yeah, and I think Grace wanted to talk some about Election Review Board.
Yeah, just briefly, just to kind of comment on the most common violation that we see in the Election Review Board always has to deal with stickers. Candidates get called in because their sticker even unintentionally got stuck on university property somehow. We know that these violations are not intentional, but it wastes the time of the candidate to have to be called in. It takes a lot of their time. It's embarrassing. And so if there's a way that we could, one, save university property, and two, lift the burden from candidates of being called in for obviously unintentional violations, that's the goal here. And so we're hoping that candidates can use other giveaway material such as buttons or flyers or business cards or fridge magnets, whatever's under $1 per unit. And so again, increasing creativity without damaging university property. And I think if either Maddie or James has anything to say.
Yeah, I'm gonna just show that slide that was this. So there was a comments in the expense reports about oh, it's not like it's more expensive, buttons are more expensive. So this was the numbers I crunched in stickermule.com. Check it out. I don't know. I'm not getting paid by them, but I should be for this ad. But if you got 2,000 stickers compared to 1,000 stickers, I mean 1,000 buttons, and I halved it because buttons can be reused, etc. Things I don't need to explain. And you can see they're relatively similar prices. So yeah, I think.
Sorry, the
we have
last
their
thing
hand
I'll
up
add.
again.
Did the authors wish to yield their time or no?
I think James was going to say something.
I think Maddie already yielded. We're good.
Okay, thank you, authors. If there's anyone wishing to question the authors, you may now type question in the chat to be recognized. Okay, if there's no objections, we'll suspend the rules and begin debate. Thank you very much, authors. If there's anyone wishing to debate the bill, please type debate in the chat and turn on your camera when your name is called. All right, Senator Amlong, you're recognized.
Yeah, I just want to say, again, I appreciate these efforts. And I've spoken to some constituents who are on election review boards, and I understand the problems that stickers cause. But at the same time, I just want to say that I do not support this bill. I might be in the minority. I like the stickers. I think replacing with buttons, I don't think that's going to do enough to limit the borderline harassment that was referenced in the bill. So I'm just going to say I don't support the bill. I yield the remainder of my time.
All right, thank you, Senator Amlong. Senator Monroe, you're recognized.
So I just wanted to point out that stickers often, as we talked about already, bring up violations in ERB. And we talked a lot about candidates' mental health. And personally, the candidates that unfortunately were a part of those violations were obviously under a lot of stress due to the situation that was brought up. And I can't exactly say if or if not this is true, but there was necessarily, basically the majority of them were just stressed because they weren't even aware of the situation, more or less. So it causes a lot of undue stress to candidates. That's not necessarily fair to them. They have to come in and go to a meeting and go through the whole process of the ERB. And in just regards to the mental health of the candidates, I think it's respectful to try to reduce the amount of violations that candidates may face that are frivolous and a waste of time for not only the candidates, but also the ERB. Furthermore, I think that buttons are better than stickers in general because buttons may be attached to backpacks, clothing, and they're not going to ruin clothing. They're not going to damage personal property as well as university property, because I know personally that stickers, when you put them on your clothing and you're walking around, they can damage your clothes. They can leave all sticky stuff all over the place. It kind of gets really annoying. And also I think buttons can be really interesting to be used because they can be attached to backpacks and other kind of everyday items. And that will allow candidates to have greater access to kind of advertisement when their constituents have a button that's going to be basically more or less permanent throughout their campaign. I yield the remainder of my time.
All right, thank you, Senator Monroe. Attorney General Dragna, you're recognized.
Yeah, so just to kind of put into perspective, in terms of what other SEC schools have for their campaigns, we are one of very few SEC schools that allow adhesive materials. Bama does not allow it, Auburn does not allow it, Georgia does not allow it because it damages their university property. I cannot explain to y'all how many times facilities management in the union approached me and saying that stickers were stuck and now have permanently damaged some university property. So I would just really like to ask y'all, even though stickers are fun, yeah, I recognize it, stickers are fun, that there are other campaign materials that can be fun without, damaging university property, and let's all be good stewards of our resources of the university that's given to us. And so hoping that by banning adhesive materials, like many other universities do, we can continue to respect the property of our university. I yield my time.
All right, thank you, Attorney General. Senator Wilson, you're recognized.
Okay, so I'm not like, I don't have huge beef with buttons or anything, but I just know when candidates would give me buttons this past homecoming elections, they're easily like lost, forgotten about. Like I remember I always left mine at home, so it kind of, and I always had to get new ones. Are there, so I feel like that kind of debunk, like for me, if people like, it would only be someone's close inner circle that really cares enough to wear the button. And so I feel like you're not really getting the candidate's name out there as much as you would be. And I feel like there's people have too many stickers. Like one thing I would think would be to like the limit the amount of stickers that people can purchase, because I think that like there's like sticking up the same people with a sticker every single day. Like I think there should be some buttons in play, but the stickers definitely, you can stick them. I know that you can also stick them on bad things, but you can stick them on a backpack. You can stick them on yourself. You can stick them to your laptop, your water bottle. Like, I feel like it gets the word out and people are always like, oh, that's so fun. Like my sticker, and the buttons, like, I'm not big on buttons just because like I hated wearing the button this past year because it messed up every shirt that I put it on. But that's just me. I yield the remainder of my time.
Thank you, Senator Wilson. Deputy Attorney General Hirsch, you're recognized.
Yeah, to add on to what General Dragon was saying earlier, I think an underrated part of this conversation, one that a lot of people often don't think about, is that damaged university property also means taking the valuable time and extracting valuable labor from people who work for facilities management, people who work from the university. Y'all, they do not get paid enough to clean up your stuff. They already do far too much of it. They do not need to be cleaning up our stickers that we put on bathrooms, on tables, on basically every part of campus. Be thinking about the labor that you put on other people through the actions that you take. Stickers, banning adhesive materials is one way that we can not just increase creativity, but also take this burden off of people. We don't need to put additional labor on people who are not compensated fairly in the first place. I yield back.
All right, thank you for that. President Atkins, you're recognized.
This is just like a quick reminder that buttons aren't the only thing that are going to be allowed under this new rule. And we've seen in the past candidates not do that. Candidates have done koozies. There was one Mr. Ole Miss candidate before I even got here that actually had the entire football schedule on a magnet, and it was less than $1 per item given out. And he had his campaign logo and slogan on it. And so like, we're not marrying buttons by passing this, but we are allowing ourselves and allowing candidates in the future to explore more creative ways to campaign with giveaway items at a lesser cost to the people who work at the university and facilities management, and a lesser cost to candidates who have to go in for a million elections violations for people sticking stickers all over campus that they don't even remember giving a sticker to. I yield the remainder of my time.
Thank you, President Atkins. Is there anyone else wishing to debate Senate Bill 22-3? All right, if there are no objections, we'll suspend the rules and move to a period of authors. Yeah, Senator Amlong, you're recognized.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring up some points that previous senator said, just to kind of talk about, to me, like the hardest thing I see with this is some of the reasoning used for me just isn't matching with what I feel like would happen. So like an example is like it damages clothing. I feel like buttons in most cases damage clothing. Like I've definitely had my clothes damaged, like holes expanded in them from buttons way more than stickers. So for me, like as a reason to eliminate that, I don't really see that'll happen. And I understand buttons aren't the only thing that could be used. I love the creativity. But just like, again, what a previous senator said about kind of losing buttons, not getting your name out there. To me, it seems like some of these changes that we've been debating about in Senate tonight, it just kind of concerns me. It feels like a lot of the, the fun about elections and a lot of the atmosphere that it creates, it just feels like it's being diminished a little bit for me. And that's just kind of my main opposition to it. Some of the logistics behind it, and just kind of the overall theme of feeling like, to me, as someone who's been here 4 years, seen a lot of elections, how it just kind of feels like it's being taken down a notch. And I personally don't agree with that. Don't agree with some of the points made in the Senate bill, especially about it like almost exclusively souring the student body voters' participation. I don't necessarily agree with that. But yeah, that's basically my point. Just kind of feels like reducing the the fun excitement of elections for me. So I yield the rein my time.
Thank you, Senator Amlong. I assume Bailey's iPhone is Senator Beard. If so, Senator Beard, you're recognized.
Whoop. Sorry, I just turned my camera on. I think that one thing that I haven't heard anybody bring up is that I think we have to consider that like stickers are still going to be around, even if we get rid of them, like, because, you know, I think everybody uses stickers during football season, which is when, like, I guess the fall elections are. And so I think maybe like limiting the number of stickers could be an option, or just something that I thought of. I just think about the stickers aren't like going away, that they're still going to be everywhere around campus, especially during those, like during the fall. I yield the remainder of my time.
Thank you, Senator Beard. Senator Greenwald, you're recognized.
Yes, so I will be quick. I stand in affirmation of this bill, but I would like to issue a warning, so to speak. I don't want this to be used as a precedence to get rid of game day stickers, to get rid of other stickers. I could see in future bills someone saying, oh, well, we got rid of stickers for these purposes for elections, so game day stickers are the next thing to go. I think game day stickers are very important. So I wanted to be on record that if we get rid of stickers today, which I'm going to vote for, I do not want this to be a precedence to get rid of game day stickers. I yield the remainder of my time.
Thank you, Senator Greenwald. Senator Ryan, you're recognized.
Hey y'all, so I just wanted to say, like, sorry, I thought there was a little echo there. I just wanted to mention you know, why we kind of decided with the adhesives, non-adhesives, that, you know, we taking account, you know, again, or like reiterating Deputy Attorney General Hirsch's statements, we were coming at this angle of not thinking of ourselves, but the campus that we're on, and that, you know, it's a little bit bigger. This might sound inconsiderate, and I'm just going to preface that, not trying to sound that way, but like, you know, it's bigger than like your t-shirt that you're wearing. It's about the impact we have on campus, the impact we have on the environment too, and the impact we have on, I think also what Senator Marrero said about the candidates' mental health, and in response to some senators' alternate proposal, I think that that is definitely a creative idea. However, you know, that giving it a numerical limit is actually a little bit more difficult to track and verify. You know, we can say like, oh, it'll be on the expense report all we want, but like considering how strict we are with other, or how strict previous Department of Justice have been with campaign rules, it's not necessarily going to be better for candidates if we start micromanaging numbers that much. We already micromanage the budget. And yeah, I yield the remainder of my time. Oh, wait, no, I don't. There are good news too. Sorry, I forgot about this. I literally did crunch the numbers. There are clothing magnets, buttons, that have a little magnet on the back that does not bring a hole in your shirt. And if you wanted 500 of those, from purebuttons.com, you can get it, that says Richard for ASB VP again. And they are 89 cents each. So good bargain over there. That doesn't bring a hole. I either remember my time.
All right. Thank you, Senator Ryan. Senator Gully, you're recognized.
Yeah, I just think stickers make campaigns fun. They bring the campaign season to like every corner of campus. You go in class and people are wearing them. It just brings life to the campus. I think we'd be missing if they were taken away. I think it's a bit far-fetched to suggest these are causing mental health problems. I can understand some of the concerns. I think it's a little far-fetched. Again, cheaper than buttons, stickers just work. I think we're really looking for a problem where there isn't one here. I yield back.
All right, thank you, Senator Gully. Senator Monroe, you're recognized.
So in addressing the mental health problem, I'm not one to take that lightly. I personally made a statement regarding that directly with my experiences that I've had from it. I think it's easy to see how that could be an overreach or a stretch, having not experienced directly seeing how candidates are impacted from having to go to ERB meetings. But I would like to state and stand affirmation of my previous statements that it is something that directly impacts candidates. I've seen candidates tearing hairs out over that almost. And I do think it's something that we need to consider. And also, I'd like to also reference a previous statement that Deputy Attorney General Hirsch made in regards to trying to limit the amount of work that some of our custodians are doing on this campus. And I also want to mention that similar Greenwald's statement about football stickers. I don't know if that's necessarily within our control. I do think football stickers are pretty fun, but the majority of those are unfortunately still falling on the ground within the custodian's responsibility to pick up. However, the sticking onto campus property is limited mainly to the union, which is still a problem, but not something we can directly address. But I don't necessarily see that being an issue. So I just wanted to address that when there was still the opportunity, or yield the remainder of my time.
Thank you, Senator Monroe. Senator Mattson.
All right, so my big thing with this entire legislation, it feels like we are micromanaging people. Like that's what this legislation really comes down to. I understand I am the first one to be annoyed with buttons walking to and fro the campus, walking to Lamar Hall from the circle. Like I completely understand that, but I kind of echo Senator Amlong's remarks. It feels like we're sucking the life a little bit out of the legislation, or no, out of election season. It just kind of leaves a lot of the great memories I know myself and all of the seniors here have had about just walking across the union, just having people just be able to walk up and have conversations and pass you stickers, and just like the energy that's there. It feels like it's directly being hampered by kind of limiting this out. I understand that, yes, by taking away the stickers, it isn't like we're completely cutting out all of the options that people have. However, they still have those options with stickers around. We are essentially cutting out what people can have. People's creativity is never really driven. If you want to have a great campaign, what you should be doing is not going the same way that everybody else does it. It just kind of hurts this legislation for me, and personally hurts the joy that I have, the joy and the very appropriate annoyment that I have with election season. There's a beauty to it, and I feel like some of this legislation just kind of sucking the life out of it a little bit. I yield the remainder of my time.
Thank you, Senator Mattson. Deputy Attorney General Hirsch, you're recognized.
Quickly, in respect to Senator Mattson's remarks, 2 quick points. First, this is not some draconian measure. We're not trying to micromanage everybody's stuff. This is something that, as Attorney General Dragna said, lots of SEC universities do. A lot of elections guidebooks say non-adhesive materials, which is exactly the language that we're replicating, because it's not a draconian measure. It's just a non-adhesive material. We've also talked about how damaging these things can be. And with respect to a previous senator and to several previous senators, we don't exist on this campus to extract things. We don't exist in order to create problems for people. We don't exist in order to make more work for people. And we certainly don't exist to make the environments that we exist in worse. That is what stickers have been proven to do, both in terms of the labor that they extract through members of the ERB, through candidates, and through facilities management staff, but also in terms of their effect on the environment. We should be considerate of the places that we occupy and how we engage in them, and banning adhesive materials in line with what other SC universities do is a good first step to dealing with that. I yield back.
All right, thank you, Deputy Attorney General. Senator Ross, you're recognized.
Okay, I just have 2 points in which other senators can correct me if I'm wrong. But as far as like the number of stickers for game day, I know that that's like a thing, whatever. But think about this. You have like however many people are campaigning, each of them are allowed 1,000 stickers. And so if you just do that math, you're thinking about thousands of stickers within a week. And like, I know football season is once a week. And like, I know that's still a lot for custodians, but think about how much they're having to do in that 1 week for HOCO, like for homecoming week and all of that with the campaign season. And that's just a lot. And I just think you could do that with the buttons. And personally, I don't know if it was just, maybe it's because of COVID. Like, I don't really know, but I have never once been like, I am so excited to walk in front of the union and get bombarded with stickers. Like, never once have I, and like no constituents I've ever talked to. Like, I've actually had several come up to me and like around like homecoming season. And they were like, I don't like that. Like, is there anything you could do about that? And, I don't know. I just feel like buttons could be a better alternative. And if not buttons, I like what President Adkins said about, other stuff like that could be more fun and that's creative and stuff. But as a sophomore, I mean, I don't know if it's because of COVID and like I never experienced the true homecoming or whatever season here. I don't know. I don't really feel like stickers are that much of the culture. Personally, I just kind of think they're obnoxious. But that may be me being a Debbie Downer. I know some people like them. I yield the remainder of my time.
All right, thank you, Senator Ross. Senator Aquila, you're recognized.
Hey y'all, I just have 2 points. I know that most of us like genuinely enjoy campaign season, but I'm gonna venture to say that we're in the most of the minority of that. I don't think that most constituents on this campus genuinely enjoy walking down Business Row and being bombarded with stickers. And then the second thing is that the election atmosphere changes every single year, and you have a new influx of incoming students every single year. So the election atmosphere that like I know as a senior is not going to be the same election atmosphere that everyone is getting as a freshman, and it's not going to be the same 4 years from now either. So I just think that's something that we should keep in mind when voting. I yield the remainder of my time.
All right, thank you, Senator Aquila. Is there anyone? Oh, excuse me, Senator Amlong, you're recognized.
Yeah, just real quick, and this is, I mean, I know we're in debate. This is almost more of a question. Perhaps someone can counter debate as an answer. But I was wondering, because to me, when I read this legislation, the greatest justification for getting rid of stickers is those hearings with the elections committee board. I'm not really very familiar with that. But has there been any other way to look into a different avenue of eliminating those meetings without eliminating stickers? I mean, I really don't know how you do it. This is just me coming up with it off the top of my head, but maybe like if there's just, one sticker on a piece of university property, you don't bring them in for that. Like, I don't know how that works, but has there been any thought into a different avenue to eliminate those meetings? Because when I read the legislation, kind of the only thing that's making me sympathetic towards the eliminating the stickers is that argument. So I'm just wondering if there's another way we could do that. I yield the remainder of my time.
All right, thank you, Senator Amlong. Senator Monroe, you're recognized.
Yeah, I'm going to try to make this as quick as possible. When a violation is brought forth to the ERB, it is submitted through a violation that you can publicly submit anonymously, or you can submit your name. And when you do that, the ERB has to hear it if it is in any way a violation of the code for election. So even if it is a singular sticker put on university property that's still in violation, that must be heard. And that causes, just for one sticker on university property, that violates the guidelines for the candidates to come in, usually their manager to come in, for the whole ERB to come in. And it just creates a lot of unrest and is very unsettling, and it release the rest of my time. Yep.
All right, thank you, Senator Monroe. Is there anyone else wishing to debate? If so, please type debate in the chat. All right, if there are no objections, we will suspend the rules and move to a period of authors. If the authors wish summation time, please turn on your cameras, and y'all will have 5 minutes whenever you begin.
Hey, just really quickly, I'm gonna say something about kind of bouncing off Wake that I was gonna say in debate, but another reason why it's like that is because we don't want to deface campus property. So we are trying to encourage that. So that's why there are regulation rules against that in the code, that why elections review board hears those cases. But that most of the time stickers on the ground or stickers on stuff are by accident. And so it's we have it for a reason in the code, and we have reason to be having those hearings, but yet there's often by accident. So it's just this kind of conflict that has created a really large problem for the efficacy of elections review board. And yeah, I'm going to stop.
Yeah, just to recap, like to Maddie's point, there are things out of our control as far as campus defacement of property that the campus puts on, I guess, elections and requiring, certain rules. So there's very little, I guess, leeway that our rules have to change that to, where we can't, kind of, we can't really allow people to deface property. It's something that we kind of have to have in our rules to punish. The severity of that punishment, I think, can change, but I think the fact that people are having to go through, disciplinary proceedings, fearing that their campaign's going to be shut down because of something that was possibly outside of their control. But yeah, we really just thought this legislation really is just trying to make elections, one, more creative, two, keeping stickers from proliferating in a 1 week, 2 week period. And then lastly, really keeping people from being bombarded with stickers and just having, it's just kind of chaos. And I think that there are other alternative means. Buttons was one thing mentioned. You don't even have to buy them. There are button machines that we be able to make available for use for free. There are flyers, all kinds of things. And I think by limiting something that everyone does, because people do stickers, it doesn't, doing something creative doesn't necessarily make you win. I think that was mentioned previously that people, if they want to win, they can get creative, but I think stickers has just become the thing that everybody does. It's old hat. You can win and do stickers, so why try anything else? So by limiting something that has a lot of negative consequences, I think we're moving people in a way that makes them pursue things that are more creative, not having to rely on everything else, something that everyone else has done. So I think, anyone else on our team have anything to say?
Yeah, I'll hop in, and then I'm sure James has something to add, but I think bottom line is we're not trying to ban game day stickers. I don't even know that we could do that. So that is definitely not a concern. I love me a game day sticker. But I think that what we need to remember here is that the time that stickers consume of the election review board's time, and then also the labor, as Deputy Attorney General Hirsch mentioned, that is required to peel stickers off of surfaces when it's not even candidates that are sticking the stickers onto illegal services. It's just random students that pick them up. And so out of protection for the candidates themselves, we think that this is a very logical solution. I know it was mentioned a lot, like the campaigning atmosphere and like being seniors, and we all remember, like, I'm a senior too. Like, I also remember all of that, and it was fun working on a lot of campaigns over my 4 years. But I watched candidates that I helped out stress over getting called in for a sticker violation. I've been on the other side of a sticker violation. It's not fun for anyone involved. And so if that can persuade you to get rid of stickers, I really hope it does. And I'll pass it over to Deputy Attorney General Hirsch for some closing remarks.
We hope you'll support. We yield back.
All right, thank you very much, authors. We will, if there are no objections, we'll suspend the rules and vote by roll call. Please, like I said, clearly say or type your vote when your name is called. So Secretary Hayward, you can go ahead and take it away.
Amwell,
No.
Anderson, Ashmore,
Aye.
Beard,
No.
Burgess, Cooper, DeQuilla, DeBell,
No.
Day,
No.
Debman,
No.
Durbindy,
Aye.
Drury,
No.
Greenwall,
Aye.
Gully,
No.
Harris, D. Harris, Hertz,
Aye.
Hollowell, Howell, Hughes, Crystal Hughes,
Aye.
Jackson, Ben Jackson, Johnson,
No.
Jones Burdick,
No.
Kelly,
No.
King, Ladner,
No.
Soto Lopez,
Aye.
Matson,
No.
Monroe,
Yes.
Murphy, Ben Murphy. Okay. Neighbors,
No.
Nelson,
No.
Osmond, Patterson,
No.
Pierce, Ricketts, Roberts,
No.
Ross,
Aye.
Ryan,
Aye.
Saloon,
No.
Smith, Stradinger, Turner,
No.
Wall,
No.
Watts, Williams,
No.
Wilson,
No.
White.
No.
All right, y'all give us a few moments and we'll get those tallied.
Kaylin, did you get my message?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Okay.
All right, thank y'all for bearing with us. Let's see. Okay, by a vote of 14 to 25 to 1, Senate Bill 22-3 fails. All right, so that are our 3 elections bills. Those are our 3 elections reform bills. So y'all just hang with us. We've got 2 more bills concerning some positions from cabinet to secretary. So y'all hang in there. Okay, if there's an author present for Senate Bill 22-4, you may turn on your camera now.
Hello.
All right. Yeah,
Hi, sorry.
time will start whenever you begin. You have 5 minutes.
Okay, hi everyone. This is my first time presenting. I am presenting on 22-4. It's basically a bill about we're removing a couple positions from the president's cabinet and putting them in the secretarial department. and there's two separate bills for that in order to do that. 22-4 basically removes the Director of Campus Outreach, Director of Involvement, and Director of Programming, and the Bureau of Philanthropy and Community Service from the jurisdiction of the President. And that's what 22-4 does. And then 22-5 will basically include those positions underneath the Secretarial Department. Because, I mean, because because the Secretarial Department already does a lot of the same things that those positions do, and it just makes communication more effective. Yeah. I yield my time unless anyone else, like Caitlin, wants to speak on it.
I'm good.
Yeah, I yield my time.
All right, thank you, authors. I will now move into a period of questioning. If you have a question for the authors, please type question in the chat. Okay, if there are no objections, we will suspend the rules and begin debate. Thank you, authors. If there is anyone wishing to debate the bill, please type debate in the chat and turn your camera on when you are recognized. All right, Senator Osmond, you're recognized.
Gonna make it fast so y'all know my Wi-Fi just hates me tonight. This is a logical change. PR was moved to the Secretarial Department, and I believe programs should be moved there as well, because it makes a lot more sense for everything to be located in one place under one department. I think the President's cabinet is much too big. It already has 20 positions, and I think it makes the scope of the President much too big. So I think moving this to the Secretarial Department is a very logical change, and I would hope that we move it out of this very fastly and everybody votes an affirmation for it and the next piece of legislation as well. Thank you. I yield.
Thank you, Senator Osmond. Is there anyone else wishing to debate on this legislation? Okay, if there are no objections, we'll suspend the rules and move to a period of author summation. Do the authors wish summation time? Great.
No.
Okay, awesome, thank you. If there are no objections, we will suspend the rules and vote by acclamation. All those in favor, please type aye in the chat. And any opposed, please type no. All right. By unanimous vote, Senate Bill 22-4 passes. All right, is there an author present for Senate Bill 22-5? If so, you may turn on your camera. All right, you have 5 minutes.
Okay, again, this bill is all it's going to do is take the positions that we just removed from the President's cabinet and insert them or include them underneath this secretarial position in the Secretarial Department. Secretarial Department, again, they need to be closer together just in order for stop miscommunications and whatnot. And yeah, I mean, it's same deal. I yield my time.
All right, thank you, authors. We'll now move into a period of questioning. If there's anyone wishing to question the authors, please type question in the chat. All right, if there are no objections, we'll move from a period of questioning to a period of debate. All right, thank you, authors. If there's anyone wishing to debate Senate Bill 22-5, please type debate in the chat. All right, if there are no objections, we will move from a period of debate to a period of author summation. Do the authors wish summation time? All right, if there are no objections, we'll suspend the rules and vote by acclamation. All those in favor, please type aye in the chat. All right, any opposed, please type no. All right, by unanimous vote, Senate Bill 22-5 passes. All right, with that, we'll now move into a period of senatorial comments. Is there anyone wishing to make a comment? Okay. If there's no one wishing to make a comment, we'll now move into a period of announcements. Is there anyone wishing to make an announcement? Abby, did you have an announcement?
Yeah, can the two new senators just stay behind on the Zoom for a second, just so I can get some information from y'all? Thanks.
All right, thank you, Abby. Senator Jones Burdick, you have an announcement.
Hi, everyone. I just wanted to take a moment. I know that we've been on here for a long time, so thanks for being patient. But I didn't want to forget about congratulating our two new senators. We're very lucky and thankful to have you on board. And we look forward to hearing all about your interests and seeing you speak on the floor next week. I yield the remainder of my time.
Thank you, Senator Jones Burdick. Is there anyone else wishing to make an announcement? Okay, I just have a couple. First off, Caitlin's going to take roll after this. I know we're kind of on Zoom, but it's still formal Senate, and we do need everybody to stay till the end. So I really appreciate you all being patient, and I want to congratulate all the authors of all the bills and things that passed successfully. And also, of course, want to extend a welcome to the new senators. So if anyone else doesn't have any announcements, all right. Having concluded all business at hand, this meeting is adjourned at 9:50 p.m. Y'all have a good night.
All right. Amlong,
Here.
Anderson,
Here.
Ashmore,
Here.
Beard,
Here.
Burgess,